Celebrities. We all love them. They make us laugh, they make us fall in love, can give us motivation to go through the difficult times in our lives, and they are just straight, nice entertainers. However, in the real life, these are just human beings like us, and sometimes they have the same struggles as we have. When it comes to relationships, celebrities have their own difficult things that they have to endure. Sometimes, the relationships have led them to breakups. In this video, we're going to look at some of the top celebrity breakups that we really hate to remember. In the world. The year is 1967, and Frank Sinatra and Maya Farrow divorced. Sinatra was 50 and Farrow was 21 when the two tied the knot in 1966. Their split was not nasty, and the pair remained close friends throughout the years. Farrow brought the relationship back into the news recently when she said that her son Ronan, whom we all thought was Woody Allen's, could possibly be Frank Sinatra's son. In 1968, Cary Grant and Diane Cannon split up. Cannon was Grant's fourth wife, and their divorce and the custody battle that followed led to many salacious headlines. Following the dissolution of the marriage, Grant said, "Once the female has used male for procreation, she turns on him and literally devours him." Now that's not really something nice to say to someone that you've spent most of your life with, someone that you'd loved. But anyway, that's how relationships are. In 1968, we saw the divorce of Audrey Hepburn and Mel Farah. Farah was the first husband to Audrey Hepburn in 1954. The actor then played Prince Andre to Hepburn's Natasha Rostavo in War and Peace 2 years later. When the two stars divorced, there were rumors that Hepburn was having an affair with Albert Finley, who co-starred with her in Two for the Road. In 1969, we saw the divorce of Lana Turner and Robert Eaton. Turner, who is known for the movie The Three Musketeers and Peyton Palace and many other old Hollywood films, was married 8 times to 7 different men throughout her life. By the way, did you know that she married and divorced restaurer Stephen Crane twice? Most of her breakups were rife with gossip. Eaton, who was a movie producer, was Turner's 6th husband. 1970 saw the breakup of Barbra Streisand and Elliot Gould. The two actors met while working together on the 1922 Broadway musical I Can Get It For You Wholesale. In the musical, Gould was the lead and Streisand was a relative unknown at that time. However, Streisand will go on to get various nominations for her part. For instance, she was nominated for Funny Girl, Hello Dolly, and MASH. These 3 movies came out in 1968, 1969, and 1970 respectively. The two stars had already made it in Hollywood when they announced their separation. In the following year, we saw Natalie Wood and Richard Gregson separating. Wood and Gregson separated after 2 years of marriage after rumors that the husband had been very unfaithful with her secretary. Shortly after, Wood rekindled her relationship with her ex-husband, Robert Wagner, and the two emerged as a couple in the public eye in 1972 during the Academy Awards. Wood and Wagner would later remarry that same year. In 1972, Ali McGraw and Robert Evans separated. The love story actress maybe took the phrase "love means never having to say you're sorry" too literally. She married producer Evans in 1969, but cost a star when she left him for Stephen McQueen in 1972. Relationship downsides happen to all people, even if you're the king of rock and roll. Just ask Elvis Presley. In 1973, Elvis and Priscilla Presley divorced. The couple, who had a long and intense relationship, ended when Priscilla told Elvis that she had fallen in love with someone else. That someone else was a karate expert named Mike Stone. News of the divorce shocked fans from all around the world. However, the split was mostly amicable. For 1974, Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor made it in the news. These two had a very uncanny love story that there was even a movie made about it. This year was the end of their first marriage. Therefore, the general public didn't really know what was in store yet. When the two divorced, Burton quickly met someone else he wanted to tie the knot with. The person was Princess Elizabeth of Yugoslavia, who was already married at that time. However, Burton remarried Taylor in 1975. In 1975, Sonny and Shah divorced. These two had made a career out of their relationship, therefore it was quite a big story when Shah left Sonny in 1974. Just after the divorce was finalized in 1975, Shah married Greg Allman. However, the new couple would not last for more than a week. 1976 saw the straining relationship between Angie Dickinson and Burt Bacharach come to life. Dickinson had once said, "I'd hate it if I were a bigger star than my husband." Like most of the breakups, their separation was largely due to cracks that come from the ebb and flow of fame. Dickinson and Bacharach announced their separation in 1976. However, their divorce wasn't made official until 1981. In 1977, Ike and Tina Turner separated. In 1976, after being the victim of abuse for many years, Tina left Ike after a huge fight. She left him just carrying 36 cents and a mobile credit card. While the two had made great music together, this was a huge moment of liberation for Tina Turner. The divorce of the two was dragged out and not finalized until 1978. We all love Mick Jagger's swagger, but that couldn't help him keep his relationship in check in 1978. In 1978, Bianca and Mick Jagger separated. The tabloids were already reporting that Mick and Jerry Hall were a couple when Bianca filed for divorce in that year. Mick had many rumored affairs already. Meanwhile, Bianca was trying to jumpstart a career, and all the resulting strife, along with Hall, led to the split. Coming close to the end of the decade, Farrah Fawcett and Lee Majors separated in 1979. The success of Charlie's Angels skyrocketed Fawcett's fame and also shifted the balance of power in her marriage. In that year, Fawcett and Lee Majors separated, and soon after, she moved in with Ryan O'Neal. Closing the decade was Burt Reynolds and Sally Field. Sally Field had just won an Oscar for Norma Ray, and on the same note, Burt Reynolds was a big star himself. While the romance of the two lit up the tabloids, it pattered out like most romances do. However, some loves just don't die. In 1981, the New York Times profiled Reynolds and said that he still hung Field's picture in his home after their much publicized breakup. The 60s, 70s, and 80s was definitely not a good year in terms of relationships for some stars in Hollywood. Or maybe just not the stars, but everyone in general. Check out the next video as we highlight relationship breakups of stars that ruled the airways from 1980 onwards.